This episode of Come to Therapy with me is possible thanks to Pediasure, the health shake that helps your fussy eater improve their appetite in 4 weeks. I'll tell you more shortly, but please remember that Pediasure is food for special medical purposes, and use Pediasure only under medical supervision.
Nine podcasts.
Hey, Nicolina here. Oh, that little guy? That's my boy Noah. Yep, that's also him. He may be the light of my life right now, but that didn't stop the postnatal depression. Now I'm pregnant with my second, and to be honest, I need help. So I'm turning to therapy to deal with all the anxiety, the worries and the blues that come along with the most important role of my life, motherhood. Sit with me each week as I try to figure out how I can navigate these rough seas. Keep in mind this is general advice only. This podcast is not intended as a substitute for medical advice and should not be relied on to manage or diagnose a medical condition. Like even my husband, he is like, would never and has never once, even commented on like fitness or body or anything like that.
Yeah.
Whether it be like throughout pregnancy or post-baby or anything. But I can't help but think I must look like such a sloth. I don't even know why he's like still with me. Like
That's really hard.
Yeah.
Do you hear that out loud?
Yeah, I know it sounds so bad, but that's what goes through my mind.
That's what you're feeling.
Yeah.
So we don't really have a set plan other than to make you sweat and work for that finish line. So keep it up. Here we go. Grab that water.
Do you know what really sucks? The pressure of that post-baby bounce back. Look, I like to think that before having Noah, I was in pretty good shape. But now, 1 kid down and 7 months pregnant, I am the definition of a sloth. I also ate 4 pieces of Nutella toast for breakfast today and have never, ever had a sweet tooth. So who am I? I really hate this version of me. I want to look good. I want to feel confident in my body, but I just don't. And it's creating quite a complex for me. A complex I hope to work through with Cherise. So come sit down and let's see how this goes. Today's outfit is very explanatory of like what I'm feeling lately in my pregnancy journey at the moment. This whole issue that I have with fitness and my body right now.
Okay.
Not even right now, it's like the last however many years I've like been pregnant, had a child, now been pregnant again. Mm-hmm. Today's my day off. Mm-hmm. And I usually try to do something active on my day off with Noah, like, even if it's like a 10-minute walk.
Just something.
Yeah, because pre-kids Nikki was such a, like I used to go to the gym every day.
Did you?
Yeah, just really into it. Such a classes person and I love going to classes.
So like, that was your buzz.
It was
that
such
would fill
a buzz.
your cup up. Yeah.
I'd love to go smash it out.
Yes.
And I did it for so many years. And so I feel like it was really like a big part of my personality as well.
Absolutely.
I was going a bit at the beginning and then I kind of backed off. And then I just feel like I've gotten super lazy at this point. Super lazy. So this pregnancy is because physically it's been really hard as well. So as an example today, like I was nauseous in the morning, so I just tried to get through the morning until he's one sleep today.
Okay, yeah.
Then when I put him down to sleep and I've got like an hour and a half to myself, I went and had a nap.
Of course, because you're exhausted.
I'm exhausted.
Yes.
And then I got up and I just like, I felt so gross.
Physically gross, or you were thinking gross things about yourself?
I think it was just both. Like mentally I was like, God, Nikki, like you couldn't have just done a 10-minute walk today. And I feel like that's been really consistent this pregnancy. And I'm finding it really hard to like not hate myself for it.
Right.
On one hand, I try and say like, it's okay, you're pregnant. But then, I'm sure you hate this, but I see the chicks on Instagram. They're like 39 weeks and doing
so
full
perfect.
workouts.
Yeah.
I just hate it. I hate it. And
you hate it because you in some way compare yourself
Yeah.
to them, and you see that as almost like that's the lighthouse and that's guiding my kind of pathway through this. And that's great for them, the
Yeah.
chicks on Instagram at 39 weeks doing their whatever workouts.
Yeah.
But that's not your lighthouse
Yeah.
for you, right? And this is where we get into a pickle.
I know, but I can't help but like always think about it, especially like this pregnancy. It's been like really on my mind every week because I feel like it's consistently gotten worse as well. So it's like a cycle of me telling myself I'm going to do something one week and then I just don't get it done because I'm just exhausted.
Because you're fatigued, yes.
And then I just hate myself for the rest of the week. It gets to the point where I can't even, like I look at my wardrobe and I think like nothing looks good and it's just...
Yes.
I'm only getting heavier. So
yes, accurate. But it's this kind of, what you're talking about here, Nikki, is it's like this harsh inner critic that comes out to play. And it's not a self-compassionate voice, it's a highly critical voice around trying to hold ourselves up to some standard that we kind of set for ourselves.
Yeah.
And then we judge ourselves if we don't meet that standard.
my issue is that I feel like I have all these reasons bottled up as to why I don't focus on myself physically, whereas I should just do something. I know that mentally I'll feel better if I do something.
Do it. It's almost as if what it sounds like that there's this kind of inner conflict, right? So on the one hand, you're saying, I really value exercise and moving my body and I want to be doing this stuff. But on the other hand, or at the same time, I feel so physically exhausted and depleted that it's actually really hard to bridge that and do this stuff that's really important.
Yeah.
And then because I've set myself this goal of doing this stuff, when I don't reach it, I come crashing down and get stuck in that judgment cycle where this harsh critic comes out, and then it's even harder. Then our mood is at risk of dropping.
Yeah.
And then it can be harder to actually engage in whatever that activity is. So this is the thing, I suppose, to reflect on. We keep setting these goals, not meeting them. So I wonder then, at what point do we need to change the goals that we're setting? Because we're staying stuck in a cycle of feeling kind of unsatisfied.
Yeah, very true. I know that my goals are really unrealistic. I compare myself to Nikki 4 years ago, who was going to a 45-minute class 5 days a week.
Right.
But I still, like, I mourn that in a way. I feel like I mourn that person that I was.
Yes.
And I sit here just thinking, okay, well, I'll just get back to that in a couple of years because it's like there's no point in doing anything now.
And how does that feel when you say that to yourself?
Like I'm creating an excuse for myself. If you asked me 4 years ago why I skipped the gym that day, I would be so harsh on myself for doing so because I know that I love it and I get so much out of it.
Yes.
But it's really easy, I feel now, to give myself the excuse of
to not do it.
I'm not going to do it. Even knowing how I end up in the middle of the night regretting my decision.
So there's something else at play then, right? Isn't there? And I think this is like a little bit of a universal issue, right?
Yeah.
For the number of women who see me who say, well, I know I need to exercise, or I know I need to do X, Y, and Z, but I just can't do it, or I don't do it. There's a blockage that somehow sits there somewhere. So yes, you 4 years ago, you identified as someone who was at the gym, 5 days a week? And that was a part of who you were. And now in this, during your first pregnancy and postpartum and now during this pregnancy, that's not the Nikki that you are now, right? So it's somehow, like you say, it's letting go and grieving or making space to accept that that was who I was 4 years ago.
The time I had,
yes, exactly. And then looking at the landscape as it exists right now and saying, well, what is this new landscape? And what parts of this landscape can I lean into? Whilst knowing that those other parts, they're just not there for now.
Yeah.
And that's not to say they might not come back, but the spotlight is just not on that right now. So sometimes what gets in the way is this kind of chatter, inner self-talk, right? Where we're having that conflict of, well, I know I should do a 10-minute walk or do something, but I'm really tired and I would benefit from having some rest and some sleep. So we constantly are kind of trying to weigh up these options, right? Because we have options in any given moment to us and we make a choice. So I wonder for you, Nikki, if what might be helpful is when we make that choice to rest, which is maybe not a choice the Nikki pre-babies would have made. But we're now this Nikki, so this Nikki's saying, actually, I just really want to curl up into bed. So what do you think would happen if you could lean into that and give permission for that to be your choice? Or does that feel impossible?
It doesn't feel impossible, but I think I just need to be maybe like kinder to myself about it rather than always feel like I'm regretting the decision that I make. Because some part of me thinks as well, if I even made the decision to exercise, then I would feel more exhausted and then be annoyed at myself that I didn't rest. I feel like there's no winner sometimes. And I think I need to get better at balancing it maybe. So, for example, if one day it's like today was just not the day for it, and I know that, and I need to accept that. So then hope that I can set a small goal that one day this week I'm going to do something like slightly significant when it comes to fitness, you know, rather than I feel like right now it's a daily process of I think about it, choose not to do it, I regret it at the end of the day, and then I wake up in the morning,
It's a cycle that you're stuck in.
Yeah.
It's hard, right? Because I think also we need to link into thinking about, well, why would I choose to exercise? Yeah. And I think sometimes if we can have those anchors that sit there, that can help to motivate us as well. But yes, we do need to give ourselves permission to rest, to read our bodies really, to tap into, well, what do I actually need in this moment? What am I choosing to do and why am I choosing that? Then if we firm up on that, it's a lot easier when that self-critical mind starts to kick on.
Yeah.
Because we've got this to lean back on. Well, hang on a minute. Well, I do maybe feel a bit rubbishy because I didn't exercise. Okay, but I know why I chose to rest.
Yeah.
And this is why I chose it.
This sounds like so weird, but something that always plays into it for me as well and kind of fuels the cycle is my husband's a really big gym guy.
Right.
Goes 5 days a week and has always been like that.
Yes.
But since having kids, he never really let go of it. What he did was, which I commend so much, but he adjusted his schedule. So instead of going to the gym after work, he now goes in the morning so that he can finish work and come home and spend time with us. And when I say the morning, I'm talking like he wakes up at 4:30, goes to the gym at 5, comes home at 4, and never budges on, you know, and he's so
he's
determined and really, really strict with it. And so I'm so jealous of that.
Yes.
Yeah. And so as much as I love that he does that and it's such a commendable thing, I feel like part of me just like hates him a little bit every day.
That's a pretty harsh word, hate. I really hope Nick isn't listening. Gonna delve into that in just a minute. All parents want to know their child has a balanced diet, but it can be extra challenging with a fussy eater. That's where Pediasure may help. It's a health shake for fussy eater kids and helps improve appetite in 4 weeks. Your child will love the vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate flavours, and there are more serving ideas in the free recipe book at pediasure.com.au. Remember that Pediasure is food for special medical purposes and use only under medical supervision. Buy in quality pharmacies.
The reality is it is hard when you see him doing all of that. So what do you think is different for him and different for you? How do you make sense of that difference?
I'd assume it's like a personality thing as well. Like, I just would never get up at that time.
That's not your value, right?
Yeah, and even though I know that, I still punish myself by saying, well, if he can do it, then surely you should do it. For example, when I look at these like influencers who are exercising up until 40 weeks, and I know that, for example, that's their job. Like they're a fitness instructor.
Absolutely.
Like that is their passion. That's their job. I have a different job.
Yes.
But it's like no matter how much I try and tell myself
rationalize
those things,
it.
I feel bad. Like I feel bad about it.
It's hard to believe it, isn't it? You can see it, but you're still having an emotional reaction to it.
Like I feel like I struggle to accept just who I am.
Oh, boom, 100%.
Yeah.
So then I wonder if that's your new framework to practice kind of sinking into and finding your comfortable space in there, which says, well, this is my husband. and this is how he does things, and this is influencer A, and this is how she does things, and this is me.
Yeah.
And how do I do my things? That's what we need to figure out.
Yeah.
No one is right or wrong. We're all just different. And I wonder if that would then take the sting out of some of that criticism, that self-criticism.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think it would, because no one else is criticizing what I'm doing. It's literally just me.
It's internal.
Yeah. Like even my husband, he is like, would never and has never once, you know, even commented on like fitness or body or anything like that.
Yeah.
Whether it be like throughout pregnancy or post-baby or anything. But I can't help but think I must look like such a sloth. I don't even know why he's like still with me. Like,
That's really hard.
Yeah.
Do you hear that out loud?
Yeah, I know it sounds so bad, but that's what goes through my mind.
But that's what you're feeling.
Yeah.
Because that's how you're experiencing yourself. And often when we're experiencing ourselves in a certain way, we do run the risk of projecting that onto someone else.
Yeah.
And going, well, this is what they think of me. But it actually has nothing to do with what they think of you. Yeah.
And I think it's having a really big impact on, because I don't view myself as fit and attractive right now. I just like feel like an Oompa Loompa. Yeah, I'm like really afraid that that's going to start impacting like my relationship in a way.
Okay.
Because Nick, my husband, and I, we're in like such a great place, and we've, even since having kids, still super intimate and things like that, which I really appreciate.
Great. Yes.
But I don't feel sexy. Like I don't feel. I feel like I don't even know whose body this is at this point.
Because it's a totally, you've not existed in this body before.
No. I'm nervous about, well, I don't feel sexy now. I've got a couple months left.
Yes.
Then I've got to have a newborn. So I'm not, you know, when am I going to get to the gym? So when am I going to ever feel
sexy again,
ever.
or feel like, and maybe it's not even just feeling sexy, it's about when will I feel like myself again in my body and feel really comfortable.
Yeah.
And this is, I think that's where we circle back to that acceptance. Well, maybe I don't feel sexy like I used to. Maybe I don't feel as fabulous in my body. Boobs have changed, belly's changed, bums changed, skin's changed. But how do I redefine what sexy might look like for me now? What parts of my body experience do I feel good about? So I don't know. Are there parts of your body, your experience with your body, that you do feel kind of comfortable with?
There's not many, but part of me does feel like I like my pregnancy body. Like I really like dressing it up, and I love dressing my bump up, and that's really fun.
Yeah.
And, you know, like the other day someone said, like, you don't even look pregnant from behind, which was such a great compliment because it, you know, feels like it's just a belly and like that's the only thing that's different about me. So that's really nice. Now that I say, I don't think I look that bad. I don't think I look that bad. But in my head, sometimes when I start thinking about it, it like
that's when it spins.
Yeah, it's like a snowball. That, for example, like my feet are swelling at the moment, and so I'm like, well, I can't even. On the weekend, I couldn't even fit into like my favorite pair of heels, and I thought, like, just damn. Like,
and that's identity stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's a reorganization of your relationship with yourself, essentially, is what's happening.
Yeah. I think I have an issue with accepting the change and an issue with just convincing myself that I know that it's temporary. I know that these are the years, for example, that I'm having children. I know that eventually I won't be pregnant. You know, I'm not going to be pregnant for my whole life, and I will have the time to myself. But it's just really hard to like look past that now in the moment.
When you're stuck in it.
Yeah.
Yes. So then what I would be doing is I would be accepting that, and I would be saying, right now this feels really hard. Right now I really do struggle to see past these childbearing years. It is really hard. However, I do need to also hold space at the same time, which is what you've just said, that sense of, but this will pass. And it's about leaning into what my body looks like, because it can't look how it looked 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Because I'm pregnant and I'm growing a bambino, and we know all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Acceptance isn't even about saying I like it.
Yeah.
Right? What we're saying is I just accept it.
Yeah.
Because it is what it is. I do feel tired. My time is limited. My feet are swelling because that's what happens in pregnancy, blah, blah, blah. I don't really like it, but I accept it.
That's so true because, I don't like it.
And you're allowed to admit that out loud.
Am I?
Yes, of course you are. We feel like we can't, right? And that comes back to all of that stigma stuff around that you should love being pregnant and you should love every part of your pregnancy body as it's changing and evolving and blah, 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 which is great. We can love some parts of it, but it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to love all of it.
Yeah.
And we're going to struggle with accepting parts of it.
Yeah.
But if we don't accept, the alternate to that is we fight and push away something that just is. And this is what I think is happening in your world. Then we get so activated and we lose all this time having this pretty horrible inner dialogue with ourselves, which then leads to our mood dropping, and it doesn't actually change the reality, does it?
No, it doesn't change. At the end of the day, it was always the conversations I'd had with myself that brought me down.
Absolutely.
Rather than anything else around me.
Yes.
And I also feel like it's probably a conversation that I should have, like, with Nick about just how I'm feeling about it, because I think it's all in my head up here. And, like, I know what he'll say. I know him already. I know he'll be like, what are you talking about? Like, I know that, and maybe I need to hear that again because, in my head I feel like I'm letting the team down. You know, like he's looking great.
He's doing his bit. And
I'm growing the child.
Yeah, I mean, we're just growing a child over here, Nikki.
But I just, it'd be nice to also maybe have that conversation to get like a little bit more of a lift from.
Just a balance as well. And to really hear what he says, not hear it and then swipe it away with it, but you're just saying that because you love me, but whatever. But actually hear the buts in your mind, but also make space to hear what he's saying. But to communicate openly means we need to lean into that vulnerability as well, right? Which can also be a bit tricky.
It's a scary conversation to have.
Totally. Because it's also a topic about, like, body image during pregnancy, during postpartum is a very vulnerable space to step into for most women because there is so much expectation. But if we can't talk about it with our partners, then we also can't open into that space either.
Yeah. I need to have the conversations, but also with myself.
But with yourself. Most importantly, actually, with yourself.
Yeah.
And then I think with that, then, like, exercise is obviously something you value, right? Like, body image is something that you value, or maybe more specifically, a fit, strong body. So then holding those bits there, because we still want to live aligned to our values. We still want our actions to be aligned to what's important to us. And this is, I think, maybe part of your struggle as well, because that is your value. But at the same time, it's really hard to live aligned to that because we're tired and fatigued and blah, 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 which then contributes to us feeling a bit more rubbish. So maybe your step below that is pulling back and saying, well, this is my value. I want to feel fit and strong and healthy. So what can I do in reality that will help me align to that? So it doesn't look like a big pump workout or a big whatever HIIT class, right? So what could it actually look like? How do we break it down into those small little steps?
If I just, for example, asked for the time to dedicate to it, and that could be in that same conversation, for example, with my husband, like that is, I'm really feeling like I'm missing this bit, and I need like these 20 minutes or this 30 minutes or whatever it is to do something today because I need to be lifted up.
Do you know where that time would exist?
It definitely exists.
It does exist.
I hate to admit that because my excuse has always been I'm too busy, but it definitely exists. It is 20 minutes, and when I say that, it sounds so easy.
Sounds simple, right?
But it's also super easy to say at the end of the day, oh, it's just over. Like, let's just accept that that's gone.
Pass. So, okay, at baseline, we know it is good for us to be physically active during pregnancy, right? And during postpartum, just actually at any time across life, full stop. But often, unless we have something scheduled in it is very easy to get to the end of the day. And there's no argument, right? Like, you are genuinely tired.
Yeah.
That is not an excuse. That is your experience.
Yeah.
Yes. So we hold that bit there, and we always want to be checking in with our bodies. However, I wonder whether it might be helpful if, I don't know, 3 times a week, you and Nick have an agreement on these days at this
Yeah.
time, I'm going to do 20 minutes of this specific exercise.
So like book it in.
I would book
Like
it 100%.
Put it in my calendar.
Diarise it.
Yeah.
Because once it's in a diary, it's more likely to be done.
That's true.
Yes.
Because everything I do for my kids is in my
It's in the diary, exactly.
It's in my diary, but
Yes.
I don't put anything in there for myself.
Boom. Then your diary becomes your thinking mind, essentially. You open it up on Monday and you see your schedule for Noah and whatever. And then in there you see your 20-minute line of exercise. Oh, it's already there. Look at
Yeah.
that. I don't need to think about this anymore because my diary's telling me that it's there. Easy.
It's good.
And if you're having that conversation, I like to have these conversations on a Sunday at some point with my husband, where we set out what the week looks like and have that conversation about all the moving parts, and that's where it gets locked in. With that, life happens, things
Yeah.
happen. So we always maintain flexibility, but there's more likelihood of it happening
Yeah.
rather than just that loose mindset saying, maybe at some point today I would like to do this.
That would be really helpful. That and maybe unfollowing some people on Instagram.
100%.
Okay, so if I've unfollowed you in the last few weeks, take it as a compliment. You're just too hot for me to look at right now. Really appreciate your company and support. And we've got another appointment next week, so don't be late. Come to Therapy with Me is hosted by me, Nicolina. And if you ever want to connect, find me on Instagram at HeyNicolinaK. My wonderful therapist is Dr. Charisse. This is a 9 Podcasts original production. In the next episode of Come to Therapy with Me,
What was frustrating about it was that he was sleeping.
He was sleeping,
Yes.
but you were not sleeping.
That's the thing. And I would just, every night would be the same thing of, I'd pop him down to sleep and I'd be like, oh, great. Like, I've got a good few hours here where I can get a good block.
Good block of sleep yourself.
Yeah, I'd lay
Yes.
down and there would just be like, I'm an owl
The
in
thoughts.
the night. And just the thoughts
Ka-ding,
would
ka-ding,
come.
ka-ding.
finding a therapist that's right for you can take a little time. But when it comes to ensuring your fussy eater is eating right, Pediasure health shakes may make the whole process easier. Pediasure contains 28 essential vitamins and minerals, including iron and zinc, that help to support a healthy appetite in 4 weeks. You can download a recipe book with ideas for the school lunchbox and also read product info at pediasure.com.au. Pediasure is food for special medical purposes and is available at quality pharmacies. Use only under medical supervision.